All right.
Oh no, that wasn't good.
What's happening?
We're going. We're doing it.
You're listening to Thunderheads, a podcast for Thunder fans by Thunder fans.
Welcome to Thunderheads. I am Brandon Soul, joined by the Thunder Tie himself, Mr. Justin Wright.
Hast du etwas Zeit für mich? Dann singe ich ein Lied für dich.
What the?
Oh,
Gazoon
99
type.
red balloons.
Boom!
Oh! You said yesterday no one was gonna get it.
I am thoroughly impressed. Thank you, Jason.
You
I
should
took
have said
German
the
for 2
American
years, so-
version.
That wouldn't be fun.
But can you
I
say
liked
the
it.
American version?
It's do you have some time for me? Then I will sing a song for you.
Still wouldn't have got it.
99 balloons.
I wouldn't have got it if you did
Oh,
that.
Rob got it. Hey!
The American title is 99 Red Balloons.
Ah, damn it. I
Two
see
for
it was
three. Two for
Lost
three
in
on words.
translation. It's the whole thing.
Okay.
That voice you hear, that's the Dr. Rob Larson.
99 red balloons.
Oh my God. And the dark and stormy Jason Lewis petting
Yes, sir.
petting his dog. If you're watching us on YouTube Live, you can see.
A little bit of shadows in here.
Yeah, he's petting his dog. He likes to interfere with the podcast. Just on the first half. All right, today we're gonna discuss the Thunder's recent 6-3 stretch, kind of as a whole. If Paul George is getting a pass, we'll dive into the stat dungeon, and we're debuting a new segment today called Current Events. I don't know if that's actually what it's called.
But it's something like
It's
that.
a work in progress.
It's the working title right
Yeah.
now. It'll work out.
But first, your disaster of the week.
Yes.
Here we go. Youngstown State University student Albert Maruna was caught red-handed and arrested this weekend after he allegedly attempted to have sex with a 15-year-old boy
Oh,
who turned out to be an undercover officer.
wait.
Hold on.
Is he 15?
So many questions already.
Yeah. Maruna, 22 years old, is charged with the attempted unlawful sexual contact with a minor, disseminating matter harmful to juveniles, possessing criminal tools, and importuning. Austintown police say Maruna started chatting through an online dating app with an undercover officer.
Grinder?
I don't know. It doesn't say the app. Sounds like Grindr.
Sounds a lot like Grinder.
They say Maruna's conversation was sexually graphic. He sent nude pics of himself. I abbreviated pics because I'm a millennial. It says pictures in the... and he set up a meeting with someone whom he believed was an underage boy. According to police, both agreed to get together on Tuesday, December 12th, and Maruna would bring lubricant, chicken...
Oh.
This is where it gets good. Chicken Alfredo and Sprite. He was luring him with chicken Alfredo and Sprite. And lube.
That's how you get the youngins.
Police said Maruna traveled to Austintown where he thought he'd be meeting the teen, and when he got there, he was arrested. At the time of his arrest, police say Maruna was carrying an iPhone, a MacBook, 3 zip drives, a bottle of Astroglide lubrication,
That's
Vaseline,
the kind you want to use.
Vaseline lotion, so he gave him some options there. 2 bottles of Sprite. It doesn't say like 2 liter.
How did he carry all this shit?
That's a good question. Maybe he had a backpack.
You have a bag?
Yeah, he had a backpack.
Duffel bag.
And chicken Alfredo in a Tupperware container.
So
Oh,
he
it was
made it at
homemade.
home.
It was homemade.
He made it at home.
That's pretty thoughtful.
That's classy. That's what it is.
Maruna is currently being held in the Mahoning County Jail.
That is a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, something's up if you have to bring chicken Alfredo, you know?
So if you take this scenario and it's a female that's offering me chicken Alfredo, I'm in.
Really?
I really like chicken Alfredo.
I love chicken Alfredo.
High in carbs, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love carbs.
Yeah.
It's my main source of food.
Love carbs. I have a carb-centric diet.
Yeah.
Important question: Did he hand make the Alfredo, or did he just get like a jar?
He got the Stouffer's kind.
You know, I wouldn't put it past him. He seems dumb. He probably did
Does
get a
seem dumb.
pre-made thing and like put it in Tupperware to like, I made it. You know.
That's
How does that where you're like, hey, are you under 18? Because it's all. I don't want nothing else.
don't
And then it's
know.
like, what the fuck?
It
Why
is
would
weird.
you be that person?
I know.
Very creepy.
It is weird to especially do it on like an online app too. Like eventually you're getting caught, dude.
Yeah,
if that's what you're looking for.
that's where cops go.
Yeah. If that's what you're looking for, like explicitly, come on, man.
Also, stop looking for it because that's fucking weird.
All right, on to the Thunder. Kind of a weird week for them, 2-2. You know what? Let's get right into it with the rundown. You ready, Rob? You're still typing over there.
I'm ready.
All right,
Let's do it.
All right, so we got 4 games to talk about. First one here is a home game against Charlotte. The only home game of these 4, as I just said. The Hornets aren't very good, but that didn't seem to matter. In the
That's
odd
pretty good then.
numbered quarters, the Thunder gave up 74 points, 40 of which in the third quarter, where things really fell apart. The Thunder trailed by 21 at one point in the third quarter. Thunder lose 116 to 103. Here's a bad stat.
Oh no.
Oh,
For the
don't.
Thunder, the Hornets shot 52% from three, 53% from the field. Russ and Felton combined for 11 for 32.
Oh.
This is a bit of a trend. I was like, those percentages bookended the week.
Highlighted that game. Russell had a cool dunk, and then we sucked.
Man, that one, we talked about that game on Thursday.
Yeah.
It just happened so fast. It was just boom, Thunder lost.
Yeah.
I mean, they played pretty good offense. You look at the numbers. I mean, it's not great offense. 108.4 offensive rating for the Thunder, but that's good for this team this season.
They were moving around, and it looks all right.
Yeah,
for a
but
bit.
probably, what would you guys say their worst defensive game of the season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No Dre. So,
Yep.
what do you expect?
So the next game was OKC at Indy. Paul George back in Indiana. Back and forth game with 12 lead changes. Thunder overcome a terrible shooting night from the former Big Three, although Brandon refuses to stop. Russ, Melo, and PG shot a combined 10 for 45. Thunder get another road win, overcoming that 100 to 95. I mean, given what happened between Russ, PG, and Melo, not shooting well at all, that's a decent win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those where the role players step up and they help you win. And as long as you play good defense
The
as a
bench
team.
did well.
All right.
I mean, the key was they shut down Oladipo, right? I
Yeah.
think that's the
Right.
key.
Yeah, and Sabonis, who had been playing well, that was sort of another point that they, that Indiana had been doing well. Sabonis,
He probably got nervous because you were watching him again, and he was like, "Oh no."
he actually,
Rob
shot
hates
4
me.
for 6. I just still don't understand what happened last season with Sabonis and how, I don't know if you just want to say that he's progressed, if it's, a bigger role that he has. He started a bunch of games for the Thunder, though. I just don't. I don't know.
He did.
I don't know what to make.
He did start at the power forward spot for the Thunder. He's been playing exclusively center for the Pacers, which I remember last season, even myself saying I don't think he's a center. I think he is a power forward. So I was wrong.
Well, he gets so much more opportunity to play in the paint. We were trying to spread him out to the corners just because it's
Right.
like, well, we need floor spacing. We've got too many slashers on this team. So now that he gets to play with his back to the basket a little bit, he can play kind of that high post and that low post, play more in the paint. I think that's really made him a lot more successful in that offense.
He's a pretty good post player. He can score down there.
Yeah.
He's got that
as
footwork.
as long as you don't force him to go to his right hand.
True.
Thunder at Philly. This was a really fun game. It seemed
Was
to.
it?
Yeah, this was
It was
fun.
stressful.
They
Both.
Mostly
yeah,
stressful.
it was definitely stressful. The game hung in the balance. It felt like forever. To your stressful
Hours.
comment. A solid first half from the Thunder, but not so much in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. They only managed 13 points in the quarter.
That
That's not good.
is not good.
It's kind of a common recurrence for this team. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
they've had many 14-point fourth quarters.
The thing that sucks though is the Thunder actually had a 17-point lead in that second half at one point. Obviously, just continued. Philadelphia continued to dwindle it away when you only score 13 points in the final quarter.
It felt like we were going to lose so badly in that fourth. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like,
Especially-
it's crumbling. There it goes.
After the run Philly went on,
Yeah.
because I believe the Thunder started that quarter, probably the first 6 minutes of it, played pretty well. Build that lead. I think they were up 11, 93-82. At that point, it felt like the game was over.
Yeah.
Felt like the Thunder just make a couple more baskets, you have the game.
They didn't.
They didn't make a single
didn't
another
do
basket
it
after
since
that.
then.
The last
They were
like 5.5 minutes,
Yeah.
didn't score.
Yeah, so
This game goes to triple overtime. The Thunder win 119 to 117. Russ was not good again shooting the ball. He looked better in overtime. He was obviously more aggressive. Sort of looked more like Russ, but he was still shot 6 for 15 in the 3 overtimes. Still, I mean that's not what you want to see from
no.
Russ.
I mean, he made some big shots in that overtime for sure.
Definitely.
So it was weird, right? He shoots 10 for 33 for the game. Thunder are up 11. He plays a pretty good game all over for the game. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he rebounded the ball. He made some plays. Then almost single-handedly tried to lose the game for the Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard because when you look at the final minutes of that fourth quarter where the Thunder didn't score and the 76ers made the run and tied it up, sent it in overtime, the Thunder at about, 4.5 minute mark looked like they're just trying to run clock.
Right.
You're up 11 and this is the NBA. You don't run clock, man. It's hard to score, especially Especially this team. This team has shown they can't
like,
score.
Don't run the clock if you're this team ever.
You got to run some action. You got to try to get a good shot, and they weren't doing it, and they were settling for those Russ pull-ups.
Well,
Russ did miss a couple dunks.
Yeah, for sure. What was weird to me is that like Melo was so hot that game.
Yeah.
And they just stopped giving him the ball, which happens a lot. It seems like when anybody's doing well, that all of a sudden they just stop going to them in the fourth.
It's almost like this team someone gets hot, and instead of feeding the hot hand, they're like, well, that guy's hot, so if we get someone else hot, then we've got two guys that can score. That's much better than just that one guy.
What is it? So why do you go away from Melo there? Do you think it was just coincidental? Like that's just how it happened, or is it? I mean, that's on Russ though, right? You got to make it a point to get Melo the ball. You're the point guard, so I think when you talk about that meltdown that the Thunder had in that fourth quarter, you can split the blame percentage-wise however you want between Russ and Billy Donovan. It's a little on Billy Donovan to get his team into sets, but it's especially on your point guard to get your team into sets and manage the game. You're the quarterback of your team.
And Melo has to keep getting himself open too. Like,
true.
I know he was getting doubled a lot that game. So
yeah.
They shot the Thunder shot 10 more shots than the 76ers in that fourth quarter and scored 4 less points.
Wow.
Ooh.
5 for 23.
Thunder had some big offensive rebounds in that game. They kept they kept them in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I do want to touch on, so this was triple overtime. So you had Paul George playing 45 minutes, Carmelo playing 47, Adams just under 51.
Fouls out.
And he fouled out.
Russ played over 52 minutes in this game, which takes us to that. Did you have another point on that?
I was just gonna give it up to Pat for that.
Oh yeah,
It was a great block.
Him coming back in for Adams at the end there. He held his own against Embiid, which I was very afraid of.
Yeah, I thought so. At that point, I thought the Thunder were going to lose because
right.
it seemed like they couldn't score, and there was no way
And they were
that
just going to go to Embiid.
that Philly wasn't going to with Patterson on him. But he held his own. So with that, we just mentioned all of those minutes back to back the next night in New York. Disaster of the game for the Thunder. No Adams. All of those minutes back to back. Thunder started out okay in the first quarter. It looked like, maybe they sort of, I don't know if you want to call it second wind after after the night before.
Fourth
but
wind.
they looked okay in that first quarter, and then it was just downhill from there. They were outscored in the remaining 3 quarters. Looked like a team who was on a back-to-back after playing so many minutes. Knicks win 111-96. And
Beasley, killing it.
Knicks 14 for 23 from 3. 55% from the field, so 61% from 3. They get to the line 26 times, knock down 21 of them. Thunder free throw woes continue. Get to the line 20 times, make 12 of them. Russell Westbrook,
so
7
bad.
for 10. His free throw percentage down to 70% this year. Like, it was starting to climb, right?
Yeah.
It seemed like he figured it out. He started doing
Starting to breathing again.
Yeah, and now it's
And now the breathing's not even working.
it's trending back down. It's so strange.
So you need to get one of them nasal strips. Help his breathing.
Something. I don't. To me, it looks like his legs aren't under him. It looks like he's not bending his knees. His shot is so flat. Like, how often do you see him shoot a jump shot and you're like, I don't think the ball even got over the rim?
Yeah, that happened several times last night.
so do you guys give the Thunder a pass on that game because of the circumstances?
That's what I want to ask too. You do?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, look, Steven Adams, it's kind of like going back to Dre. It is, you have to have Dre out there because of like your defense suffers when Dre is not out there. It's the same thing with Steven Adams. Steven Adams is the floor general of this team as the center. He's got to help out. Like, he's great on, you want to have him on Cantor that entire time, but also just the way that he has that presence in the paint. If a guy blows by you, you've got Steven Adams back there. And obviously that's not going to help with the three-point shooting, but I think just having him back there, you can play a little tighter on a guy outside. And so I don't think you give up as many of the good looks from three. I think Steven Adams is a huge linchpin of kind of why they lost that game last night.
You can make the case Steven Adams has been playing better than any other player on the team.
Steven Adams has been the best player on the Thunder this year.
With that being said, I still don't see how you can give him a pass.
Without Chris, because they didn't have Kristaps.
Yeah.
Like,
and also we saw the same thing offensively. Like, they still struggled. They shot 42% from the field. They actually shot 44% from 3. But I mean, like, we kind of saw the same struggles, and I get it defensively. Definitely, they gave up 111 with Adams. I don't think they don't even touch that. But you still have Paul George, Carmelo, and Russ. You have to be able to beat the Knicks, even on a back-to-back after triple overtime. I just think you have to, for a team that's been struggling. Like, that's an important win. You just got to 500. Now you drop down below. I just think it's tough. It's a tough spot. I get that I'm sure it's hard on their body. Like, I get all of that, but still, you're the better team. You have to come out and not only not get blown out, you have to win that game.
I think you can go into that game thinking that the Thunder were going to drop off a little bit defensively, especially missing Adams.
Sure.
You play 3 overtimes, plays many minutes. You can expect them to fall off defensively. The problem with this team right now, they can't afford. They cannot afford to drop off defensively, or they can't win a game.
Yeah.
I mean, and that seemed important to add to your point, Rob. That's Melo's return game. They got the Paul George return game win. Yeah. This could be big for team chemistry in the locker room. You get that win for your teammate. They didn't do it. That doesn't feel good for Melo.
Carmelo didn't do it. Like,
Carmelo sucks.
27.8% from the field. Like, he has. I think that's he's got nobody. And whenever you look at it, the primary defender on Michael Beasley for much of those points, 11 for 18 for Beasley. Like, it's just so ridiculous that Michael Beasley went off.
Yeah.
It's so predictable also at the same time.
We actually talked about it before the game started. We were all saying it was either going to be Jarrett Jack or Beasley that are going to torch us.
And McDermott makes big shots.
Oh, yeah.
In the game.
That hurt.
It was, if you're a Knicks fan, you're watching that game and just
dancing,
grinning ear to ear, just like, look what we got rid of Melo.
Yeah.
They're 16-13 on the year. They're 14-5 at home.
Yeesh.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Like, that's, you know what I mean?
One thing I noticed about last night's game was that the 2 previous games, so the Charlotte game and the Pacers game, I felt like we came out with the intent of moving people, not necessarily the ball, but there was player movement. And you actually, I felt encouraged by that progress. Like, it seemed like people were actually moving around. You're getting some sets run. And then last night they just said none of it. They didn't do any of it. And so it's like a regression. It's like every time this team takes a couple steps forward, they take a couple back.
Yeah.
And
it felt a little sloppy last night.
Yeah. I mean,
agree
it was
with you.
definitely sloppy.
It was unpolished. It seemed like they weren't real focused coming in.
Very much.
Which,
agreed.
that goes back to my point about it being a big game for Melo. You'd think that they would make it, muster up any kind of strength, any kind of energy you have, which you saw Russ, and it was nice to see Russ make some jump shots. Yeah. That's a positive you can take away from the game. What do you finish from the field? 9 for 18. Hey,
that's good.
I'll take it.
There we
That's
go.
about what we want. But what's the deal with this team though? When you do get that good game out of Russ, no one else plays well.
Yeah.
When you get that, what you have seen is when one player plays well, Paul George, when he gets like 35, 40 points, team wins that game.
Yeah.
But when Russ plays well and he shoots well, it seems like the Thunder lose. The big three, the OK three, cannot get it going at the same time. They cannot get it going.
Well, it's hard whenever one of them can't get it going hardly at all. Like, Melo is struggling every single night to shoot the ball.
Yeah, that shows how huge it was.
One.
Yeah, in the Philly game.
Yeah.
Right? Because if he gets going early like that, which I have some stats in the stat dungeon about this, about maybe how to get Melo going, that I think that we can look at a little bit. But I don't know. I guess you can say it's encouraging to see what you saw from Russ, but I think you're right in the end, Jason. It just was sloppy, unfocused. Yeah. But is Paul George getting a pass here that he shouldn't be getting? Offensively,
I think he is. It's
right, and we all here understand what he does defensively.
Yeah,
he's incredible,
so good.
But offensively, just like the other 2 members of the OK3, lowest career field goal percentage. He's just you almost don't trust him when he has the ball.
No, and he's a minus 20. Against the Knicks.
Well, what do you think that's from?
Well, I think
when they put him in with a bench,
every game. It never works.
Yeah, but also, it just doesn't make sense to me though. Like, it should work.
It should work.
It should be so much better.
Theoretically, it's a great idea.
So what's the deal here? Does he not have that alpha personality? Does it or can he just simply not finish? Can he not drive and finish?
He definitely can't do that.
We having flashbacks to Oladipo right now. It's weird. You trade Oladipo away for Paul George, and he's got the same deficiencies that Oladipo had.
It's like they switched bodies. They Thunderstruck.
The bench was good though.
They did Thunderstruck.
The bench was good against the Knicks. That makes it even more weird. Like, they were, you had Jeremy Grant 4 for 7, Felton 4 for 8, Patrick Patterson 4 for 6.
Right.
I mean, they were minus in the plus minus, but like, they actually played offensively, which this team really needed. They actually played better than they had.
So does that point to lineup choices by Donovan?
I just think it was just a weird. I think more so than this, I think we'll see as an outlier than what it actually was. Like those guys being that good offensively and not being able to stop. Like McDermott during that stretch was just incredible. Like he just didn't seem to miss. And I think there was more so.
Do you miss him?
No, I don't. But it sucks whenever he lights you up like that.
Yeah.
But he just can't. He didn't seem to miss.
It is nice that like if you. This is a fun one. Would you rather included Abrinas in that trade than McDermott, or do you like the decision that the Thunder?
No, I think I'd rather have Abrinas.
Yeah, but McDermott. You would say that McDermott's a better player, right?
Right now.
Right now.
I don't know if I'd say that.
Yeah.
He's worst defender.
You're all right.
Sorry.
You think he's the worst defender?
Last season, wasn't he
probably.
statistically like the worst?
Yeah, he wasn't good.
I don't have the numbers anymore, but
Right.
I know through most of the season, like he was the worst defender in the league.
Yeah,
It's
he
nice
was
that
bad.
he makes some plays off the dribble sometimes, though.
Yeah.
McDermott does, So
Which
Which
we've
Alex
Yeah,
can do that.
Abrinas.
he
every
can,
once in a while.
but with McDermott's size,
You feel a little bit
he
more
can get a
comfortable
shot.
about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was a fun question to bring up. It is sad when you see McDermott. So let's actually talk about that trade a little bit.
Oh.
Do you think? And this is pointless because it changes nothing. But with the Melo trade, Cantor, McDermott for Melo, if Russ had extended prior to that trade, does Presti make that trade?
I am gonna just say he does not do that. I don't think.
Anyone have?
If you already have the thing you were trying to accomplish done, and you have Paul George, I don't necessarily think you do it.
Yeah,
But don't you still have to prove something to Paul George? Like I understand that you.
That's a good point.
that is
like
a good
you
point.
Actually, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Okay, so you're switching.
I think you just switched me.
It
You
was
switched
one
me.
point.
He's a waffler.
You switched me. That was so quick.
What do you think?
Yeah, obviously with hindsight though, you could say that having Mel on this team has obviously resulted in being under 500 right now. This is hindsight. No GM ever has that anyways, but you look at Paul George just wants to win. And maybe without Mel, if you still have Enes Kanter and Doug McDermott, maybe the continuity coupled with the fact that you brought in Paul George to be on this roster,
But
maybe that leads you to you're not sitting 14 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're sitting somewhere around like, hell, 22 and 7.
Ooh, wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
I think it is. That's not.
You think
all-
it's that
I
big
mean,
of a difference?
I mean, we
I
have
really
talked
do.
about that. How if we had those guys, our regular season would be a lot better.
I think it'd be
and it's
better.
the continuity thing you brought up. So if Sam had a crystal ball and could have shown Paul George, this is what happens if we bring Melo,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's like, yeah, no.
Well, I think Justin makes a really good point because I think that at that point, Paul George doesn't have a choice who he's playing for.
Yeah.
So he's going to play.
here.
And if you start winning,
Yeah.
that's going to speak more to him than it would just making a trade without any results.
That was the end goal with Paul George the entire time. It's like, okay, if we're going to do anything, you don't have to bring in a bunch of people. You just have to go win games.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
all he wants to do. Like, it's either he's going to LA or he's going to see that he can win a championship here. And clearly it's not working right now, and it fucking sucks.
So we're saying this is Russ's fault for waiting so long to
Well,
extend.
but what I will say to Justin's
It's
point
always
there
back on Russ.
is it's not regular season wins that he's going to care about. It's the playoffs, and I would still do that trade for the postseason.
Yeah.
Like I realize it's not working right now. It doesn't look good, but
It
that
will,
wasn't
though.
the point of the
Well,
trade.
I think what we have to assume is that Billy Donovan is going to do something to change something up to try to make these pieces fit better. Because right now he's not working with those three specifically enough to make them succeed. I feel like he's not like he's the parts around them. He's doing a lot with them. He's trying
Right.
different things, but with
Yeah.
those three, he's not really trying a lot of different
Yeah.
things.
He's kind of just going to like go play your game, and then they're not doing it.
And maybe the goal is to try to just get them used to playing with each other. And if the losses come, so be it. We got to get these guys comfortable with each other.
Right.
But then you look at Houston. I saw someone make a point on Twitter about this. You look at Houston; they're hardly playing Chris Paul and James Harden together. Like basically, just one of them is on the court
All the time.
all the time, and it's working so well for them.
It really does work.
So I don't know. I don't know how much you want to put on Donovan. It's really hard to say because the OK3, they're not shooting the ball well. So who's that on? That's on the players probably. And maybe a little bit of Donovan.
I don't think you can just completely say it's not on Donovan.
No.
You know, I think there's those guys.
Well, I don't
should-
want to
those-
get into the
there's
blame game
blame
again.
to go
those
around
guys
for
should
everyone.
be hitting open shots that they seem to be getting. Like whenever you get open looks, and so Carmelo actually talked about that. that he said that it might be a little bit that they're not used to getting those looks that they're getting. They're still
That's
open,
interesting.
but how they're getting into those sets, how they're getting the ball is just different for him. And so maybe he was making the case that maybe that's sort of a reason on why they're missing them. But then he also acknowledged there's still open shots. Like you still have to make those.
I thought who was doing the game? I think it was the Philly game. Maybe it was someone at halftime on ESPN. Maybe Paul Pierce, Chauncey Billups, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were saying that they want to see, they just don't get anything in rhythm. The Thunder don't get anything in rhythm, which is exactly right. And he was talking about he wants to see them be more decisive with their decision making.
Yeah.
Just do it quicker. They kind of, it takes them a second to process what's going on.
Right, and we've talked about that a couple times where, like Paul George, you'll see him get the ball, and he sits there and dribbles it and goes, I don't know exactly what to do. Russ does the same thing.
And everyone watches. And
Yeah, and then like when Russ is going to take a shot, I almost feel like I can see him while he's going up for a shot thinking about like if that's the right thing to do.
But is that worrisome to you guys, though, that one thing goes well, they correct something one night, but then another thing falls off?
Yeah, it's like that John Hamm tweet of like a cartoon character trying to plug holes in the ship, and then just more holes keep popping out, and it's like, how do you fix this?
But that's scary from Sam Presti's point of view, that wow, maybe this is just destined to not work, because that puts pressure on him. I mean, I don't think that he wants to blow this thing up. You're already getting people out there saying that I think it's time to blow it because you want to get what you can for Paul George at its, at his highest value, which makes sense if you think about it like that. If you truly believe this is never going to work, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, I still don't think you trade him until he comes to you and says, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
Like that's
but
the
what
only
if
way
he
you do it.
never says that though?
Well, you just
What if
lose
he
him.
never says that and you're still 500 on the trade deadline?
If that's the case, I think he's definitely you got to move him at that point.
But then you're moving him for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, but still, it's better
It's
than
better than
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Is it better than nothing,
I don't
or do
know.
you still just ride it out?
Because
at
what
that
if it
point?
turns around? That's my thing. Is like, what if it turns around
Yeah.
and you make the playoffs?
Because like you said, Rob, the ceiling's higher in the playoffs on paper. It's such a tricky position.
Because Paul Pierce brought up the fact of the Brooklyn Nets team that him and KG were on. Not like a great example, but they were terrible. And then after the trade deadline, they did flip the switch and they got above 500. They made the playoffs. They made a run in the playoffs for a minute, and then they were super old. But still, there is that possibility that all of a sudden you can flip it. Like it can start working.
That's the scary thing, though, is it's hard to see when that's coming.
I mean,
Need that crystal ball.
you gave up so much continuity for Melo and Paul George, and maybe that's just me, and maybe you guys have seen this too. But you're talking about that decision making. That slow decision making is really coming from two guys. Russ makes quick decisions. Steven Adams is making quick decisions. Even Dre is now. Granted, that's usually get the ball then immediately pass
Please
it.
pass it.
But they're making quicker decisions because they've played with Russ. They've been in the system. They know what's going on. It's really Paul George, especially. He catches the ball and he's like,
Yeah.
"The fuck is this? Well, what am I supposed to do with it?" It takes a while for him to like really commit to doing something, and then when he commits to doing something, he's driving the lane and getting way stretched
As
out.
if
It
he
just-
was in
it
quicksand.
looks clunky. It looks weird. It doesn't look like the Paul George we saw in Indiana.
Yeah.
And the same with Melo. It's like, well, I guess I can just back my guy down because that's what I'm used to doing. But none of it looks good. There's a lack of continuity, and it's just it's frustrating to watch. But they don't know what to do on offense.
It kind of seems like the whole team around Russ has adopted Russ's clunky way of moving. Especially with Russ's he doesn't have a handle on the ball this year.
Yeah.
When he loses the handle on the ball mid dribble, does he ever not shoot it? You know what I mean?
I mean,
He lo-
sometimes it goes out of bounds.
yeah.
Mostly
And,
it goes
He
out of
loses
bounds.
the ball, he gets it back, and then he's shooting it. So it's that type of stuff really just disrupts your offense. And so it's almost like everyone's kind of adopting that, and they just
It's
can't
just
get
gotten
a
contagious.
smooth. They just cannot get smooth possessions.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to put it all on Russ on that, but that's kind of what it looks like.
Well, it makes sense because he has the ball more than anybody else.
Yep.
So, like, what he is doing is impacting those guys.
Yeah.
So, I think, and plus, he's supposed, I mean, the best player on this team, supposed to be the leader of this team. Like, I think a lot of it does just fall on Russ. Like, and
it
Russ,
does.
Russ is the one that has to figure this out. Like, shooting terribly, he's starting to make worse decisions now. Like, he just has to play. Russ just has to play better. That's what it comes down to because this team is going to go as he goes.
That's where all your money is. You want if you're paying that guy that much,
Yeah.
which
Biggest contract in NBA history.
He absolutely deserves it, but you expect a better return than what we're getting.
Agreed. Shrag Patel from the YouTube Live says OKC beats Houston on Christmas and goes on a 13-game winning streak.
Wow.
Hashtag book it.
Yeah,
I like
bold.
it.
I like it for a Christmas present.
I
hope
love
it
that.
happens.
I've thought so many times this season, like, oh man, there's a win. Like we're gonna win so many
Here it
now.
goes.
It just sucks that it's still so
just,
inconsistent.
It's just like one of those things. Like nothing can go right for them. You know, nothing. You go on a little road win streak, 3-game road win streak. Then you have a back-to-back against the Knicks after a 3 overtime game.
Yeah.
And no Steven Adams because he's concussed.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Thanks
can we
a
catch
lot,
a break?
Joel.
Can we catch a break? You know, just to get something going. Hey, let's dive into stat.
dungeon?
Yeah, let's do it.
Stat Dungeon.
All right, this edition of Stat Dungeon, which I believe is the second ever
It
edition.
is.
Fuck did I just listen to?
That was someone
Welcome
being
to the
tossed
Stat
into the
Dungeon.
stat
Yeah,
dungeon.
you're here.
Jesus,
You didn't like it?
I'm terrified.
Okay,
Good.
You should be.
It's not going to be pretty.
This is revolved mostly around the OK3 and their shooting numbers compared to prior years. Okay, let's start with Paul George. He's shooting. He shot 50.1% from 2-point range last year. Not bad, right? Pretty good. He's 40.6% from 2 this year. 10% drop off from 2-point range.
Whoa.
He's shooting 65.4% at the rim. Pretty good. That's really good, actually.
That's surprising, actually, to me.
But then it just gets worse. 27.3% from 3 to 10 feet. So basically in your paint area, he's 27.3%.
Yeah, that sounds more like I was thinking.
29.8% from 10 to 16 feet, that mid-range shot that he's supposed to be so good at. 29.8%. And 32.4% from 16 feet out to the 3-point line. So that long, too. He's here's what's crazy, though. So to contrast that, career high in threes made per game at 3.1 and a career high in 3-point percentage at 41.3. He's shooting a higher 3-point percentage than his total field goal percentage.
It almost feels like the only thing that he can do right now is shoot threes. Like every
Which
time,
makes sense.
every time I see him drive, I'm just like, why? Like I said, it looks like he's walking through quicksand, and he just
he's not
bumbles
moving well.
in there.
But I think the threes make sense because he should be more open on those. Like those should come, and he's really, catch and shoot. Like he's really good, and so it makes sense that Russ is finding him on those, and he would be shooting a higher percentage.
How come they can't get open driving lanes for him? Or is that on him? Can he not exploit driving lanes?
It seems like he's not very explosive on his drives.
You're
Like,
right.
I don't
It looks
see that at all.
uncomfortable
Yeah,
whenever he's doing that.
and it kind of goes back to what Justin was talking about with his decision making. Like, he's very unsure of himself when he's driving. Like, I think there's been like 2 plays a game where he has a good drive,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, do that more.
What about a conspiracy theory that maybe he's just trying to preserve his body so he can just be healthy for next year?
Man, I don't like that. I don't like that. Get that out of here.
Every time I say something like that, you guys just turn on me. My whole podcast turns on me. All right, let's move on to Russ before we get to Melo. So obviously, I think a lot of people know this. He's a career low 38.8% from the field this year. Insane. 30.9% from 3. A career low 70% from the foul line, which we said earlier. 34.3% of his field goal attempts are coming at the rim. 5% higher than last year.
Wow.
I think that would surprise a lot of people, right?
Surprising, yes.
So he's getting a lot more shots at the rim is as they pertain to like his volume of shots. So ratio wise, maybe not more, but he's not shooting as much this year. He's shooting 59.4% at the rim, which is 2% higher than he was shooting at the rim last year.
What?
And then once again, this is where it starts getting worse. 13.3% from 3 to 10 feet. 13% from the paint area. I said Paul George is 27.3% from the paint area. 13.3%. Russ is 31% from 10 to 16 feet. That mid-range jumper that he likes so much. 31%. 28.4% from 16 feet out to the 3-point line. This team has a mid-range problem. They can't hit the mid-range shots that they like so much.
Well, they should, and especially that they should be so good at.
Yeah.
Like these guys are.
All 3 of them are amazing at it.
So let's move on to Melo. His average distance of shot is 17.1 feet, which is the farthest away from the rim of his career. 63.3% of his shots are 2s, which is the lowest percentage of his career. He's always been a 2-point shooter. He's shooting more 3s percentage-wise.
Yeah.
He's shooting 54.3% at the rim. Not great. Obviously, he's getting blocked all the time.
Yeah.
17.4% from that 3 foot to 10 foot range. So let's recap.
So no one can make those shots.
No, Paul George 27.3% from 3 to 10 feet. Russell Westbrook 13.3% from 3 to 10 feet, and Carmelo Anthony 17.4% from 3 to 10 feet. Carmelo though is better than the others as you get further out. He's 46.1% from 10 to 16 feet, pretty good percentage, and 41.7% from 16 feet to the 3-point line, which is pretty low for him. So Melo, what that tells me, Melo's actually doing okay in the mid-range. Not great. You'd like to see, I don't know, you'd like to see a little better. But those other two, Russ and Paul George,
terrible.
Whew, just awful.
Like really bad.
So maybe that just says bad fit.
Well, I wonder do you have totals on those? Like how many of those shots for Melo? Because I feel like his percentage is probably. I know that obviously he's going to make more, but he's also going to shoot a lot more than those other guys as well.
You mean just those paint shots?
No, outside of the paint, like those the deep twos. Yeah, the deep twos that are.
I don't have totals. I'd have to really start digging, and that would just be a big silence in the podcast.
But I think that's part of it, though. I think that's part of why his percentage is a little higher, and he's also way more comfortable shooting those than the rest of those guys.
Definitely.
But the weird thing about that is, and maybe this is sort of what the Thunder need, is like you look at a team like Houston. Like it's threes or it's around around the basket. Like
they literally don't even take mid-range shots.
The mid-range shot in the NBA is going away.
Right.
And maybe the Thunder need to follow along with that because they are struggling.
They're struggling to get to the rim though, because Melo can't get to the rim without being contested or blocked. Yeah. And Paul George, we've been talking about it.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, they don't shoot the three well.
Because you don't want to take away like what your guys' strengths are. I mean, these three guys have been pretty solid mid-range shooters for their careers. So if you can make them, if you make them, that's going to open up the rim anyways because people are going to start to contest them, and they're not making them. And I think that's hurting them bad.
You also make yourself easier to defend though with those shots as well. Like,
definitely. Maybe it's just a bad fit. So let's transition here into lineups then. And this is gonna make a point that I've been trying to make for a couple weeks now. So the bench with Paul George, all right. The lineup of Paul George with Felton, Abrinas, Grant, and Patterson has logged 50 minutes together. They're minus 24.2 points per 100 possessions.
Is that bad?
That sounds really bad.
It's so bad. It's one of their worst, if not their worst lineups. The same lineup, but with Melo instead of Paul George. 36 minutes, so they've logged 14 less minutes. Plus 5.5 points per 100 possessions. That's a 30-point difference per 100 possessions between Melo being with that lineup and Paul George with that lineup. Donovan has to know this, right?
Well, I still wonder though. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to know exactly why, but you look at how well Raymond Felton was playing early on, and maybe that's because Melo was out there and it wasn't Paul George. Like you could make that case as well. But I think that absolutely helps Carmelo. It would absolutely help Paul George. If Raymond Felton was consistently playing as well as he was, like he was shooting so well from three to start this year.
But maybe but he's been shooting pretty good from three still.
Bad lately. Like he had a slump there for a while. That was
sure, but maybe that's something to Melo and Raymond Felton having a bit of chemistry.
I mean, it could be.
And maybe you need to utilize that if you're Donovan, because definitely Raymond Felton and Paul George never played together before.
Yeah.
Guess what the Thunder's best three-man combination has been this season? I want to give you guys a guess. Don't look at my notes,
I'm
Justin.
not looking at your
He's
notes.
cheating. Cheater!
I'm going to go with Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Steven Adams.
No, but you got two of the three, right?
Yeah, I think that was the safe one. I'll say Russ, Adams, and was that a shake? You already shake your head
Adams
now?
is not in it.
Really?
Russ, PG, and Dre.
No.
Dre was
Two of the
a
three,
really
though.
bad idea.
Okay,
Russ and PG are two of them.
Is it like just very, very oddly
Is it Russ, PG, Felton?
the OK3?
Nope.
That would be super weird.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Just like,
But no,
what?
it is not.
I don't know what we're
How does this
arguing
work?
anymore.
Let me just reveal it.
Yeah,
It's
do
Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Alex Abrinas. They're plus 14.7 points per 100 possessions. They played 148 minutes together. That's
Is that
trio.
without Melo? Or is it doesn't
It's
matter?
just a three-man combination. Yep. Doesn't matter. The worst is Felton, Paul George, and Patterson. Minus 33.9 per 100 possessions. They've played 151 minutes together.
Damn.
Paul George doesn't work with the bench, guys, is what
doesn't
we're
work.
saying.
Unless Adams is out there, and then it does work.
And I understand, Rob. It's frustrating because I think you're right. It makes sense on paper. He's a guy that has more He can do more than Melo can.
Mm-hmm.
But it ain't working.
It's definitely not. I almost feel like the bench by themselves is better than when they have one of the big three out there, or OK3, I guess is what we're.
Yeah.
I wonder what those numbers are, since I know that, and that was a quote that came out from Billy about using those guys possibly to try and continue to gain continuity for Carmelo and PG and Russ, trying to go with that all bench lineup. So I wonder what those numbers look like.
Yeah.
For how plus and minus and stuff like that.
I have Abrinas, Felton, Grant, Hustis, and Patterson. They've played 15 minutes together, and they're even. They're exactly even on the season.
Not a minus though.
Yep.
Huh?
But just 15 minutes, it'd be interesting to see exactly when that was, and because that's recently where they actually have been. They've been winning games, been playing a little bit better. So I don't know. It's probably still
like
a little
they just
too
started
early to tell on that, but I do agree with those numbers aren't good for Paul George with the bench unit.
I just don't understand when Carmelo's in such a slump like he's in. Why not just try to put him back with the bench when he was shooting the ball better? Like, why not just try it?
It could.
I mean,
If you're tinkering with stuff, anyways.
Yeah,
tinker with that.
If you're Donovan, like, what's
the fear is that he will continue to struggle and the bench will absolutely get destroyed.
Sure, but how would you know unless you just try? Like, because he's just continuing to struggle anyways. You know, so you won't know until you try.
Yeah, I think you can. The
And he
case
played
against
good
it is you can hide Carmelo's deficiencies. Although if he's just going to continue to shoot bad, you can't. It's hard to hide. But with Russ and Paul George and the starters with Adams, you can kind of hide that a little bit more. But
the data isn't there for that though. That's the problem. Let's move on. Let's debut our new
Let's
segment.
do it. It's time for current events.
Yeah. Okay. There we
I
go.
was like, I don't know what to do here.
Take it away,
I don't know what
Justin.
to do with my voice.
All right, so this past Thursday, the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, chaired by Reese's loving and America hating New Yorker / Kansas Ajit Pai, decided that net neutrality, a 2015 Obama administration regulation that, among other things, ensured all websites and internet services were treated the same. They killed it. They straight up murdered it. And now that net neutrality has been brutally murdered, consumers rightfully fear that internet service providers may begin throttling content on certain websites because, well, money is why.
Money's a big thing.
So,
Agreed.
with that in mind, what are some real or fake websites Thunder players are frequenting that could be throttled by their internet service providers?
I like it.
All right, I got one.
Okay.
I am going to go with Russell Westbrook. I've got two for him. So I'm going to start with he's going to Netflix for the Netflix for kids for his boy. And then also Psychology Today. Figure out how to get his confidence back.
That's a good one. I got a Russ one. He's just going to good old YouTube.com and he's looking up free throw shooting tutorials.
That's a lot like my Dre one.
Yeah, my Russ is Ticketmaster.com/Slayer tickets because he's looking to go score on a Slayer concert this offseason.
Maybe
That way he can wear that shirt and it makes sense.
He can wear the shirt and he can get out some of his anger. Maybe if he gets in the mosh pit,
There
just
we
really
go.
get it out. Yeah.
So I've got one for Carmelo here. They have Carmelo is only 33 years old.
Yeah.
But he's playing like he is incredibly old. So I got AARP.org.
Gotta get that membership, baby.
Yeah.
I like it. I got one for Mello. This also applies to Raymond Felton. Postmates.
Oh, that was my Raymond
Nice. They're using Postmates like crazy.
for sure.
My Raymond one was gourmetburgersandhowtoeatthem.com.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
He
Yeah.
doesn't know.
No.
Fork and knife.
I got one for Paul George.
Is it a crime? Sorry. Is it a crime to eat a burger with like
Yes.
a...
Yes,
Absolutely.
don't do that.
What if it's like a giant burger that you can't
okay.
You can cut it in half, but that's
Okay, the one exception is an open face chili burger. That is
Yeah, that's
that is
just- you don't eat that
designed
with
to,
your hands.
that is designed for fork
disgusting.
and knife.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, use your hands like a man. Or
All
a
right.
woman. If just
Yeah.
use your hands like a person. Yeah.
Look
a
at that.
human.
All right, so for Paul George, I got www.tacticalbassin.com. It's a blog telling the truth about bass fishing.
I like it.
Why do
Good
you
one.
need to tell the truth about bass fishing? Like, what's
There's so many lies
there's
out
so many
there.
lies about how to fish.
You stop
bass.
telling damn lies about bass fishing, you motherfuckers.
I have a super depressing one for Paul
Oh
George.
no!
He's just hitting up Zillow.com looking for homes in LA.
Oh man.
You're a
sorry,
dick.
guys.
That cut deep, bro.
Sorry.
That cut deep.
Okay, Josh Hustis, Twitter.com/Fred Katz because he's still trolling the crap out of Fred Katz.
Nice. Like it.
He does that.
I got one for Kyle Singler. getthefriendsyouwant.com/how to be cool and make friends. Real website.
Aw, poor. I have one for katanas.com. He's a katana
That
collector.
seems like it. I like that.
Mine is whiteguysamurai.net.
White guys
It
never
has to be a .net. It can't be a .com.
Yeah.
It's a .net.
He totally
like
would
it.
go to that.
I just want to point this out. Jason found a lot of actual websites. Like his search history is going to be completely
Yeah, it's gonna be
different
weird.
than it
People
was
are
before.
like, do you really need friends that man? Bro?
He might have discovered some new hobbies through this process.
I got for Pat just going to imdb.com because he
Yeah,
loves
yeah.
movies.
Yeah, he might be going to some like bootleg sites too.
Oh, yeah,
I could
for
see him
sure.
doing that. Adams, definitely just all of the anime websites, right? That's
Yeah.
his thing.
For sure.
Mine for Steven Adams was themoderncaveman.com.
Very good.
It's like GQ if you have a lot of hair and you look like you just built, you discovered fire and killed something with a club.
What is a modern caveman though? Would it just be Adams? Because
It's just
he,
Steven
Steven
Adams.
Adams.
he just kind of wears sweats
It's like
and like a
Steven-
hoodie.
It's Steven and Jason Momoa just hanging out together, like throwing axes and stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God. Could you imagine them just hanging out?
It'd be badass.
It would be. Could you imagine being
I'd
in
feel
their presence?
so
though?
inferior
You
as a
would.
person who's just like,
I don't like this.
I'm not even a man.
Yeah. I have one. This is my last one. Billy Donovan. Egomanagement.com.
Oh,
Just trying to figure out how to handle these guys.
nice. For Dre, mine was much like your Russ. It's just YouTubing basketball shooting in general tutorials.
Poor Dre.
I've got two more. I've got one for Alex Abrinas, winbackyourcoacheslove.com.
Oh, that's a really good one. Really
and
good
then
one.
for Billy Donovan, how to make Twitter trolls shut the fuck up about your job.com.
That sounds like not a real website. I don't know.
I don't know. Put it in there.
I'm gonna buy that domain today.
Go, Daddy.
All right, is that it? Ready
Yeah.
for Twitter questions?
Let's do it.
think so.
That was nice and loud and long.
From Todd Lytle at ToddBoy23. Do you guys see the Thunder having a win streak this season of more than a few games? I just don't see it. Too many inconsistencies.
They better.
They need
They
to.
better get it together.
They're going to have to because that's the type of stuff that, I mean, you got to put one of those together to just show that you can.
It'd be cool
basically.
if that win streak also consisted of wins that made you feel good about the team. That where you're like, hey, they beat the shit out of somebody.
Is it encouraging to you guys that they are playing well against good teams?
Nope, because they're
Yes.
playing bad against bad teams.
Yeah.
Like they just lost to Charlotte. Like
Ugh.
So what's the explanation here, though? Like, why are they playing good against good teams?
They need a motivator, like somebody.
Because
come in.
they're
Richard
built,
Simmons to come in and just.
this team is built for success in the playoffs, and bad teams don't make the playoffs
You think maybe they lock in defensively, and
because they care.
yeah.
Well, yeah, you kind of have that point of like when they play really good offensive teams, they kind of lock in defensively, which makes them lock in offensively.
Mm-hmm.
but they're good defensively for the most part.
Except
That's-
against Knicks and the Hornets.
Yeah.
Those two teams.
No Dre, no Adams.
Well, you
Solved.
I think it was Brandon that you had a stat that they had a chance to go. Had they have played really good defense against the Knicks, they could have moved up to second.
Yep.
Instead, they moved to fourth.
Yeah, they were 0.1 behind the Celtics for first in the NBA in defensive efficiency, and that they didn't pass them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
From Always and Forever Art at Always and Forever Art. I always read that twice. And
Always
I
and
love it every
forever.
time. Do you think Tupat has finally earned his sixth man on the Thunder now that he is healthy?
He's playing well.
I like it. I don't know if it's six-man worthy, but
Who is the
he's-
sixth man on this team?
I
Grant?
think. Yeah, Grant
Or
or
Felton?
Arenas. Oh,
It's
Felton.
definitely, it's definitely not Abrinas right now. He's barely even
Well,
playing.
no, I mean, I thought we were saying like, who do we want?
Oh.
Who do we want? You're saying who?
Who is?
Who is? Oh yeah, I would think it's probably Felton.
That's crazy.
Weird.
Because going into this season, I don't think
Yeah.
any of us were like Felton's the sixth man, or even has the chance
at
to
all.
be.
Well,
you know
it
who'd be a
should've-
pretty good sixth man?
Nerlens
LeBron
Noel.
James.
Carmelo
Melo.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think we are a 50-win team if we can get at least 3 of our 4 stars on at the same time? Or do we even need all 4 to play well in each game?
I think it's a good question. I think if you get 3 of the 4, yeah, on a game-by-game basis, you're a 50-win team easy. It's been an
It'd be
issue.
nice.
Yeah.
It would help a lot, actually.
How many games has 3 of them played well?
It'd be cool if we could get
0?
2 of them to play well.
Maybe the Warriors
Right.
game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only
Maybe-
game I remember.
Maybe the first Knicks game?
Yeah.
First Pacers game,
that
maybe?
Bucks, the Bucks game
Bucks game?
was good.
We're just naming the games they've won.
Yeah.
That's the only ones that were good.
You're about halfway there.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, sadness.
Let's just go on a 53-game win streak.
I like it.
Yes.
Let's do it. From Kerry Cicero at Cis66. Whoa. Based on at Shea Serrano's book, Basketball and Other Things, who's your Franken player made out of?
I like this. If people don't know what we're talking about, in Shea Serrano's new book,
a great book.
He has a chapter called like My Franken Player or whatever,
Yeah.
and what it is you put together pieces of different players that make like the best basketball player.
Yeah, and a couple of the examples he used Paul George's forehead, because he really likes the way his forehead looked. He had someone's shot, Steph's shot, I think.
I can't remember exactly
But
what his
he
was.
also
That's
used
not this question.
some guy's penis.
Yeah.
Because it was.
Did you use Serge Ibaka's?
No, he said that was one of them that
Yeah.
he would have used, but he used the guy that never had sex. He was abstinent during his
Oh,
entire
that's
career
right,
because it
that's
was
right.
a pure penis.
So, where would we go here? I mean, we could stick with basketball.
Yeah,
So
so
we
we do
probably
that,
should.
not penises.
If we just go jump shot, I mean that's easy, right? You go Steph.
Yep.
That's it. That's our
will
player.
the will to win.
I go Clay because fuck Steph Curry.
I like it.
That's not a bad choice.
What if we keep this to Thunder players? Like,
Let's do that.
I like it.
I love it.
That's-
Let's alter the
so who shot? So we started with shot. Which?
Do you take Paul George?
Paul
Like, it has to
George.
be Paul George.
Paul
yeah.
George. And then passing, you take Russ, right?
Yeah,
You gotta take Russ.
for sure.
Height, size, body. Let's go body. Whose body are you taking?
Raymond Felton.
It might be Paul George again.
Could be maybe.
Jeremy Grant.
I like
If you can shoot and you got Grant's body and you can.
Oh, if
Yeah,
you
you
can
could-
shoot and you have Steven Adams' body.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you're,
That'd be
making,
really
you're
good.
making a player all together.
But-
So we're stitching this all together as one
Very
one
close
thing.
to
But he might be
LeBron that
slow,
we're
though.
talking about here.
He-
That's
yeah.
what I feel like.
Well, that's
Yeah, that's what
basically
you were trying to make.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to
That's
make.
exactly what you're trying.
So what about free throw shooting?
Oh my gosh, Alex Abrinas, I guess.
I guess.
Anthony Morrow, is he still?
Mello, I guess you could use.
Yeah, you
Here
could.
we could go Nick Collison, right?
Definitely
Ooh,
hair.
I like
Go
doing
Nick.
this. Yeah, I don't know. Would
Really?
it be Nick?
Steven
Who else?
Adams.
I think Grant kind of has cool hair.
he does.
Deep
Everyone was
without-
thinking about
I
his
mean,
hair.
you can
Little
go
dead
Steven
air.
Adams because if you have like this perfectly molded player and you have Steven Adams like look,
Well, I was
pretty
gonna
cool.
I was gonna ask about beard, but hair. That I guess hair
Yeah,
covers
Adams
all of
definitely
it.
wins
or
out.
you
Yeah.
could really get. I mean, you could go Kyle Singler, but then
God,
you,
no.
But then you just have Evan Fournier. That's what you have at that point.
No.
He's got some beautiful skin, man.
What about just like swag? You know, like coolness factor.
Mello,
Mellow.
Would it be Mello?
for sure.
Yeah.
He's cool as hell.
He
Yeah,
is
because
cool.
like Russ isn't necessarily like swag. It's just like I don't really give a fuck.
That's true. But that is swag in
Yeah,
a way.
it is.
Yeah, it's its own like Melo's just cool because he's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Russ is cool because he's a badass.
What about mind?
I think I'm gonna go Russ there.
Nick Collison.
Rob.
Nah. So no
Yeah,
for me.
Collson's not a bad one.
He's gonna be a coach.
Felton. Did you guys hear that audio of Felton kind of talking to the bench the other night in the Philly game? That was really cool.
What was it?
He
Oh, his plugged-in thing or whatever they call it.
yeah, he was talking
Oh.
he was talking
It was
to
really good.
Abrinas one play and he was like that it's a great shot. I'll get it for you again. Like
Yeah.
go back over there. It was cool. He
Do you
was
think
like,
Russ said no to to being the player?
probably?
I
Like,
yeah, I bet he's
it was
been
kinda
asked,
weird
and
that
he
it
probably
was-
never does.
Yeah.
Melo's basically mic'd up every game, just when he
He
pulls down
just-
rebounds.
True. Anything else?
I think we got it.
All
That's
right.
our player, right?
All right, from Thunderup at My Name is Devin. How does this season affect Sam Presti? In the beginning, he was basically a lock for Executive of the Year. Does this team's failure diminish that at all?
That's a good question.
a great
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah. I think
Like
so
it,
too.
it sounded good on paper, and I don't. It's hard to knock Sam, but it's not working. So results, I think, definitely go into that.
It is funny though because we all thought it was a lock.
Yeah.
I think if this team finishes with the top 4 seed, it's a
There's
lock,
no question in my mind.
right?
So
Yeah.
if they get back up there, he's back in.
It might. Like, who's the leader right now? Would it be Daryl Morey probably?
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Son of a.
That really
Well, this,
makes me upset.
this just got sad.
Yeah, let's move forward.
From Johnny at Triple Double VGC.
Johnny T.
In the spirit of Christmas shopping, what would you want to gift every Thunder player if you were to give them anything?
He had some examples.
I wish all of them could make free throws.
Oh yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah, free
My-
throws for everyone. You get free throws.
Yeah.
So Johnny would give Andre Robertson a jump shot, Paul George the ability to not foul, and Kyle Singler a razor for his awful hair. So he's just saying like, here's a razor, just shave your head.
Just shave it.
Not even
That's-
your face, just
that's
shave your
the
head.
I would give Melo some leaping ability.
Yeah.
that he doesn't have right now.
Fountain
for
of
sure.
youth, maybe?
Yeah, that's exactly.
My Paul George gift would be the ability to drive and finish, because
maybe
it
like
looks awful.
maybe like a little acceleration,
like a little jetpack.
little nitrous.
Rocket skates. Can you wear those on the court?
You can try.
He just flies through the.
I'd get Russ some like grippy, sticky things to put on his fingers so he can
Stick
hold
'em.
the ball. No, grippy, sticky things.
Oh, okay.
Like the stuff from The Replacements, where they put it on his
Yeah.
hands.
The problem is you also have to be able to let go of it.
Yeah,
So
he dunks it. And
Does
then,
he though?
True.
That'd be weird if he dunked
Maybe
it.
he
and the
has
ball
like
just stuck
a
to him.
little release valve or something. Like a little...
if it goes
It's
all
like-
the way through the net and he pulls it back, it still
You
counts.
just give
I
him
think.
Spider-Man
True.
hands.
True.
Spider-Man hands.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
I would give Steven Adams more passes in the fourth quarter.
Oh, that's
too real.
very good.
Too real.
Very good.
That is good.
My bad.
I would give Paul George a contract in Oklahoma
Oh,
City.
I would
Yeah.
give Andre Robertson confidence.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
What about Abrinas? Is Abrinas confident though?
Playing time.
He shoots like
That's
he's
what I would
confident.
give him. It's just playing time.
Yeah, he shoots like he's confident, but the ball doesn't go in like he's.
The ball's not as confident as he is.
I mean, he's 36% from behind the line this year. It's not terrible, but he's so open.
They really need him. Yeah. Then he's
He's shot some clankers.
so important to being able to spread the floor for this team, especially with guys that like to shoot mid range and don't make them very often.
Yeah.
Like you need Alex Abrinas out there to be able to drain those shots.
Agreed.
What about Patrick Patterson? What are you getting Patrick Patterson?
A bunch of movies.
I'd get him some more minutes. I think
Yeah.
I think he's earned it.
He's
Yeah.
definitely earned it recently.
That's actually true. You take away the Brenus giving him minutes and give them to him.
It kind of goes back to what we've talked about a little bit. Is maybe Melo's playing a little too many minutes.
Is that corner three for Pat?
How many minutes
it.
should
Love it.
Patterson be playing? What should he average?
Probably
18?
20.
20?
Yeah.
So he's at 14 for the season. Which,
And a lot of that because how many games did he have where it's 6 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever.
Whole bunch. Whole bunch.
I think I would give Patrick Patterson a signed poster of Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder, just because they look so similar.
It is funny because they do.
Any
Never
other
go full
guess?
retard.
Terrence Ferguson, an invite to the dunk contest.
Agreed.
I like
how
that.
about Jeremy Grant?
Both of them.
Both of them,
Yeah.
and Josh Eustace, all of them.
Oh, everybody's
Just
going.
all-
I'd like
all
to,
Thunder players.
I'd like to give Grant some confidence from behind the line again.
That'd be
He
nice.
does not want to shoot
Yeah,
that three.
It's so weird that
Scary.
he only wants to drive now.
Yeah.
Like it's
He's not confident at shooting the ball.
weird.
And wrapping it up from Zach Weber, 33, at Z Avalanche, 33.
33 in his
His
name.
name.
I'm just going to read this verbatim. What is wrong with Russell? Shot, which I'm pretty sure was supposed to be shit. It has been off
No.
all season.
I don't think it's.
Oh,
What's wrong with his
No,
shot?
sorry.
He just wanted it to be that.
Okay, what is wrong with Russell's shot? It has been off all season. There's supposed to be okay. Now I'm on it now.
I said it earlier. I think that he's not bending his knees. Maybe he's not focusing. I don't know. It looks so flat. Is there any chance something's lingering with his knee?
Yes,
You think so?
there's a chance. I don't know that it's affecting.
I think
him
it's
that much,
all
but there's a
mental, man.
chance.
Yep.
It's all in his head.
It's pretty crazy to say that he's affected by a knee problem when you see him in a triple overtime game run
Smash.
full speed and dunk over a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smash through. Who was it? I don't know.
Saric.
Saric. That
Yeah.
guy looks
Could just
weird.
be more of a confidence
Looks
thing.
kind of
as
like
well.
I think so.
kind of looks like a pirate. Saric does.
He's just so in his head, man.
I don't know. I also feel like the way he plays so explosively and fast and everything that he's got so much adrenaline going that he doesn't even feel the knee.
Mm-hmm.
It's when he needs it to like do something more finesse driven,
It's just
like
not under him.
try and make a shot that he just feels it. Like he's leaving everything short. When shooters leave shots short, they're tired or there's something wrong with their knee.
He's still
If he-
just tired from last year.
I think he's just not bending his knees. I think he's losing his fundamentals a little bit.
It'd be nice to see him shoot less. Like he continues just to chuck the ball up there.
It's true.
Shooters got to shoot.
Let's do some.
Notes.
Participate.
I did.
He never.
he just
He
whispers.
whispers.
No.
The NBA announced the 2021 All-Star Game will be played in Indianapolis. That sucks.
That's stupid.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
That was a horrible decision by everyone.
I'm hard on Indianapolis.
I
I've
haven't-
only driven through there, and it seemed terrible.
It's the worst because the interstate, they take the speed down to 55.
Yeah.
All throughout Indianapolis.
Doesn't make any
It's
sense.
They're like, please stop here. Please.
Yeah,
Please do.
they are like that.
Leave
My
us.
my dad's been there a few times. He said down by Bakersfield House
Mm-hmm.
and Lucas Oil. Like there's just this huge downtown area where there's like a bunch of bars and like nightlife and stuff. So if you get down there, it's actually really cool. Apparently.
Are we going?
Well, hell, they
2021,
should've-
making
they
this
should've
commitment?
Put a big sign on the exit to do that, and I might have stopped.
Stuff to do here.
But it was just looked terrible.
The Thunder's 4th uniform has been leaked by screenshots on NBA 2K18. You guys seen these?
Looks terrible.
Yeah.
Not a
I like
fan.
the gray and the gray black, like the dark gray trim,
Uh-huh.
but the gold trim or yellow trim around the letters and the letter font, like from the logo, like we talked about, it looks bad.
Yeah, I mean, if
And
you,
just little stripy things. I'm hoping these look a lot better in person, but I don't think they're gonna.
if you haven't seen them, they appear to be based completely off the logo.
Mm-hmm.
It has the font, it says OKC across the chest. It has the two, what do you call them, like
The lightning bolts
yeah,
that are
I don't-
stripes.
whatever those are.
They're
Yeah,
weird little things.
coming through the numbers on the side. But yeah, as Jason said, the trim is in yellow. It just looks kind of weird.
It's just poor execution.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it's disappointing after the statement jerseys
Yeah,
are
'cause
so
they're the best
so
jerseys of
cool.
all
Which
time.
they're apparently just gonna wear all the time now. Like,
I like
it.
I
I'm into
can't. We wore the white home jerseys
They need
on Monday against the Hornets, and then wore the statement jerseys all three
All
times
three.
on the road.
Yeah,
they need to get that laundry done though.
seriously.
Wear
They're
'em.
just making new jerseys.
The Philadelphia 76ers announced that the team will unveil a sculpture of legendary point guard and NBA champion Maurice Cheeks. That's the Thunder's assistant head coach, I think.
It
The
is.
assistant head coach? Outside of their team training complex in Camden, New Jersey, as the 4th sculpture installation of the 76ers Legends walked. That's pretty cool for Mo Cheeks.
Hey,
The
go, Mo.
76ers also showed a video on the Jumbotron honoring Mo Cheeks during a stoppage and play on Friday night's game.
That's cool.
They like Mo Cheeks.
I like Mo Cheeks also.
Samaje Christian hit a buzzer-beating three-pointer to win a game in China.
Woo!
Off the glass, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Of
I'm
course
sure.
it was.
It called glass. I can guarantee it.
Yeah. Russell Westbrook has been playing music from his phone during shoot-around media availability lately.
I've really liked it.
I'm sure it's annoying to the media, but, you know, if it puts him in a
fun
good
times.
mood, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Anything that can make Russell happy makes me happy.
As of December 15th, Raymond Felton and Patrick Patterson are eligible to be traded. Just so you know, that's of note. Andre Robertson will be trade eligible on January 15th. Matt Pinto told a story on the Thunder pregame show the other night. When they got into New York, when the team got into New York, they got on the bus and they were, I guess, driving to the team hotel or whatever. There was a taxi in front of them that took a left and hit a guy. Hit a pedestrian.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and knocked him out, went unconscious, and I guess the medical staff had to get off the bus and they went and helped him. Guy survived. I guess he's okay.
Whoa.
But yeah, so Matt Pinto was talking about, he's like, first, like the plane thing, and
Yeah.
and then this.
They've
It's
had
just
some
like
crazy
this
travel
team, like
happenings.
whatever's going on with this team is
You got
just
some bad juju going on.
there it is, man. The Knicks showed a video tribute to Carmelo Anthony prior to the game on Saturday. That's a cool gesture, right?
Appreciate that.
Apparently he got he got a lot of cheers, and mostly
was-
probably because, like, all right, he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's also boos. There were still, quite a few boos whenever he touched the ball.
Yeah.
But to be expected.
What are you
probably.
gonna do? You know.
It is cool that they showed a video tribute, though. I mean, it's classy.
It's nice.
It's classy. All right, up next on Monday, the Thunder have the Nuggets at home. 3 games in a row at home, actually. On Wednesday, the Jazz at home. Friday, the Hawks at home. Then on the second night of a back-to-back, Thunder travel to Utah. Another 4-game week here for the Thunder. I feel like their schedule's been packed. I lost a point last week. Rob, you lost a point. Standings, Justin, you're at 5. Jacob is at 4. He's going 2-2 this week. Rob, you're at 3. Jason, 5. And I am at 4. What do you got this week, Justin?
I'm gonna go 3-1, and they're definitely getting a win on Wednesday for this guy's birthday.
Nice.
Ooh.
Happy birthday.
What you got, Rob?
I'm going to go 3-1 as well, which I just went 3-1 and it didn't work out, but I'm doing it again.
This time it's happening. I'm also going 3-1.
Oh.
Let's do it.
Oh, no.
I'm not gonna leave him hanging.
Yeah.
I am going 2-2.
No.
Way to be a downer at the last one.
I'm sorry. Hey, I've been optimistic on these predictions here lately, and
It's not working out.
it's
so
coming
hot.
back. Yeah, so I'm trying to get back to them. All right. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter at OKC Thunderheads. Justin's over at Thunder Tie. Subscribe on YouTube, especially if you're watching us live right now. We really appreciate it. You can go back and watch the pod if you're into watching pods.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can get notified when we do go live if you want to on there. I don't really know how to do
Just
that.
like click on the little
Yeah.
bell and stuff, and
There you go.
yeah.
Also, subscribe on iTunes. Leave us a review. Really appreciate it. SoundCloud, Facebook, Google Play, Stitcher, Overcast, all them
them
good things.
things.
Check out OKCThunderheads.com. All of our pods are there. Hey, we will catch you guys with another pod on Thursday. Till then, and as always, Thunder up. I like it. We all just wave.
Wave goodbye to Joel Embiid.
Oh.